This is the Terracotta Army. 8,000 warriors buried over 2,000 years ago. One of the greatest wonders of the world.
For over 2,000 years, the tomb of China's first emperor remained untouched, surrounded by myths, mystery, and a fear that kept even the bravest away. But what if everything we thought we knew about that famed Terracotta Army was just a diversion? Recent discoveries by Albert Lin expose a hidden world beneath the surface, filled with deadly traps, astonishing technology, and a secret that chills the imagination. What if the true story isn't about a burial at all, but about a terrifying plan and to outsmart death itself? This is a tale of fear, power, and preservation on an unimaginable scale. Ancient fears behind the tomb. Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor of a unified China, ruled with iron will, but his reign was also marked by deep-seated fear. From the moment he ascended the throne, Qin Shi Huang believed threats to his power lurked everywhere, both in the living world and beyond. This paranoia wasn't mere superstition. It shaped the very blueprint of his monumental tomb. What started as a burial project quickly transformed into an urgent, massive undertaking fueled by visions of danger and betrayal that haunted the emperor's every waking moment. Historical accounts reveal moments when the emperor's fear became tangible. On one night, he reportedly woke in terror, screaming and shaking, striking the palace walls as if haunted by an unseen force. His command to finish the tomb within 24 hours was impossible. Yet, he repeated it obsessively, as though failure to seal the tomb would invite disaster. This desperate urgency frightened even his closest attendants, and it pushed the state's resources to the brink. The scale of the tomb's construction reflects these fears vividly. Over 700,000 laborers, including prisoners and conscripted workers, were forced into rapid service, often enduring brutal conditions. Entire provinces lost their agricultural labor, leading to famine and hardship. Workers died underground in collapsing tunnels, their bodies never recovered. It was not simply a mausoleum, it was a fortress against an uncertain, chaotic world. Qin Shi Huang's obsession with safety extended beyond earthly enemies. He believed in celestial warnings and cosmic omens, such as meteors, that supposedly foretold his death. His paranoia led to ruthless actions, including the execution of villagers accused of sorcery or conspiracy. The tomb wasn't just a final resting place. It was part of a larger plan to maintain his rule and influence even after death. This fear also shaped the tomb's design as a sealed system to protect the emperor eternally. It was less a funeral monument and more a survival strategy for the afterlife. The entire project was conceived under a state of emergency, reflecting the emperor's anxiety about enemies, rebellion, and the unknown dangers that might follow him beyond the grave. His vision was of a tomb that transcended death to become a secure, untouchable empire underground. Not only was the tomb vast, eventually covering an area close to that of modern Manhattan, but it was constructed at an unprecedented speed. Entire cities rose beneath the earth with speed that defied all known construction norms. This rapid development showcased a kingdom mobilized by fear rather than ceremony, turning the tomb into a monument of control and power rather than peace. The emperor's fear was personal and political. Assassination attempts drove him into deeper paranoia, and the tomb's security reflected his desire for absolute dominance. This was more than a man burying his belongings. It was a king attempting to cheat mortality and rebellion through engineering and terror. Every inch of the complex was meant to outlast enemies, seen and unseen. The terrifying pressure that drove Qin Shi Huang also sealed a destiny for his tomb, one that intertwines history, myth, and extraordinary science. The underground capital revealed beneath the soil near modern Xi'an, what once appeared to be a vast burial ground has now been revealed as something far more complex, a sprawling underground capital. This subterranean city was built with the same care and order as the emperor's real empire above, functioning with chambers, corridors, and spaces that mirror imperial buildings. Modern scanning technology like LiDAR, ground-penetrating radar, and magnetometry has allowed researchers to visualize these networks without disturbing a single stone. The scans reveal a carefully planned city, complete with palace halls, administrative offices, armories, storage rooms, stables, and expansive courtyards. This wasn't a symbolic space or a tomb alone. It was a functioning representation of Qin Shi Huang's rule, designed to operate forever beneath the earth. The precise layout matched what the Qin government used to impose order on the living, reflecting the emperor's desire for control extending beyond death. Outer walls within this underground system reach depths of around 30 meters, equivalent to the height of a 10-story building buried beneath the surface. Some corridors abruptly end, and sealed chambers restrict airflow, preventing movement between spaces. Structural reinforcements like thickened walls were built to redirect pressure and avoid collapse, indicating architects designed for permanence and extreme security. This subterranean design makes it clear that Qin Shi Huang envisioned a closed, impenetrable world, one not meant for heirs or visitors. No maintenance corridors or hidden entrances exist.
Xi'an province uncovered a single life-size terracotta statue of a warrior.
Workers who helped build the inner sanctums were reportedly slain or trapped inside to preserve secrecy, underscoring how seriously the emperor treated his afterlife realm. The landscape underwent total transformation because they needed to hide the underground elements. The changes involved moving 100 million cubic meters of earth to execute multiple tasks, which included hill flattening, valley filling, river path changes, and map deletion of roads. The burial grounds contain enough soil to cover the entire island of Manhattan with multiple meters of earth, which makes the tomb nearly impossible to detect. The underground capital functioned as a self-sufficient system, which remained completely concealed from view. The site remains untouched since its construction, when workers used extreme methods to shut down all access points. The project demonstrates exceptional technical expertise, which creates a permanent power center that controls everything through underground operations. The architectural masterpiece exists because Qin Shi Huang wanted to protect himself from potential attacks, which he believed people would launch against him. He observed disorder throughout the world above him, while his existence below him created his vision of perfect eternal order. The subterranean capital became an eternal seat of control, where no enemies could reach him. Our understanding of ancient tombs changes because this location maintains complete secrecy while operating at massive dimensions, which function as actual strategies that create controlled environments. The emperor was not planning a simple burial. He was planning eternal dominion from the shadows. While this vast underground city conceals much, the surface's greatest distraction awaits nearby: the impenetrable army of clay, poised to deceive and mislead. The true purpose of the Terracotta Army. The Terracotta Army stands as one of the most iconic archaeological wonders in the world, but recent discoveries suggest it was never truly meant to protect the emperor. Situated east of the burial mound, facing the direction of Qin Shi Huang's traditional enemies, the army was a carefully crafted ruse. Over 8,000 life-sized clay soldiers were arranged in authentic battle formations, complete with real bronze weapons, to create the illusion of an unstoppable force guarding the tomb. Every detail of the soldiers was painstaking. Their armor bears carved dents and battle damage, while many figures retain fingerprints left by trembling workers, marks purposely left intact because those craftsmen believed the statues watched them. The soldiers' faces were painted, some with blood-red mouths, suggesting warriors who had tasted battle, others displaying expressions of fear and tension rather than pride. This army was built not as a genuine defense, but as a decoy meant to divert attention. Intruders would be drawn to the visible legions, believing the clay warriors held the secrets of the emperor's tomb. Yet the true heart of the complex, the underground capital and hidden chambers, lay far below, shielded by layers of earth and lethal traps. The intent behind this deception became clear following Qin Shi Huang's death in 210 BCE. His sudden passing led to imperial chaos because Xiang Yu started a rebellion which aimed to eliminate all evidence of Qin control. Mobs attacked the tomb complex, which resulted in them destroying official symbols while they looted bronze weapons from the Terracotta Army and burned roofs above the pits. Archaeologists discovered proof of intense flames and broken clay statues, which resulted from extreme violent behavior. The rebels chose to avoid the main burial mound without explanation. The main chambers and tunnels beneath stayed untouched by them because they seemed to experience a supernatural force which prevented their entry. Ancient accounts describe rebels falling mysteriously ill when approaching the tomb, some with blurred vision and breathing difficulties. Local legends spoke of curses guarding the site, attributing the army with absorbing anger and violence meant for the emperor. For centuries, the world believed the Terracotta Army was the tomb's most important feature, a defensive line frozen in clay. Albert Lin used his technological investigations to demonstrate that the actual value of the project lay in its ability to create confusion. The soldiers' purpose existed to create distraction, which enabled enemies to go to their base location without detection. The clay facade concealed an engineering wonder, which people discovered after 2,000 years. The army served as the main decoy, which protected the emperor's rule from beyond the grave, while it functioned as the tomb's primary security system. This desperate trick at the surface was just the beginning of a much darker and more intricate mystery concealed beneath the earth, a mystery that Albert Lin's scans would soon uncover. Devastating attacks and unbroken secrets. The death of Qin Shi Huang in 210 BCE sent shockwaves through the empire, unleashing chaos and rebellion that sought to erase the Qin dynasty's legacy. Xiang Yu, a fierce military leader and rival to the Qin, led troops in a violent campaign to destroy symbols of Qin rule. His forces systematically targeted government officials, supply lines, and historical records, leaving devastation in their wake. Their mission was clear: to wipe out every trace of the emperor's reign, a response to the cruelty many attributed to his rule. When Xiang Yu's soldiers reached the tomb complex, their rage unleashed fierce destruction on the Terracotta Army. They looted real bronze weapons, smashed clay figures with brutal force, and set fire to the wooden roofs sheltering the pits. Archaeologists later found burn marks proving the intensity of these flames, which were so fierce that some clay soldiers exploded from the heat. The violence reflected deep hatred for the emperor, but also a desperation to obliterate his symbols of power. Yet, in the midst of destruction, an eerie boundary emerged. The rebel forces suddenly ceased all attacks before reaching the central burial mound. Unlike the open devastation elsewhere, the heart of the tomb remained untouched and unbreached. No tunnels were dug, no attempts made to enter the chambers beneath the mound. This strange restraint puzzled contemporaries and continues to baffle researchers today. Ancient records mention strange afflictions among the rebels who approached too close. Men reportedly suffered blurred vision, labored breathing, and sudden sickness when near the tomb's core. Some whispered of curses placed by the emperor to protect his final resting place. The Terracotta Army was seen as absorbing the anger and violence meant for Qin Shi Huang, acting as a shield that turned away hostility from what lay beneath. The narrative persisted for hundreds of years, which claimed that the clay soldiers protected the tomb because they served as its primary defenders through their existence as a terracotta clay battlefield. The site became known to the public because his presence established him as a powerful symbol, which captured their imagination about the location. Albert Lin used his technological advancements to prove that the basic story about the project had deeper meanings which remained hidden from view. The Terracotta Army functioned as the emperor's actual protection system, which instead served as an intentional diversion. The building used an intricate design to create a false entrance which would mislead visitors while safeguarding the hidden underground area. The information discovered a new way to understand the situation because it showed active deception, which used advanced methods to protect the area. The rebels ceased their activities because they encountered the burial mound, which led them to believe that it contained a tomb designed to protect against all types of invading forces. The tomb's central area remained forbidden because the design and ancient rituals combined to create a permanent secret, which protected Qin Shi Huang's heritage from light exposure. The Clay Army, with its associated curse legends, created a dual barrier, which functioned as both physical and mental defense of the tomb. The site functioned as a disguise, which protected an advanced system that operated beneath the surface until it became visible. As technology advanced, so did the ability to peer beneath this veil, uncovering layers that had remained sealed for over 2 millennia. Cutting-edge scan. Unveil hidden chambers. Using non-invasive technologies, Albert Lin and his team embarked on a mission to see beneath the surface of the Emperor's tomb without disturbing its sanctity. They deployed tools like LiDAR, magnetometry, and ground-penetrating radar, methods that allowed them to map structures hidden under thousands of years of soil and sediment. These scans revealed a breathtaking subterranean labyrinth that had previously been invisible to archaeologists and historians. Ground-penetrating radar detected an unexpected chamber hidden inside another chamber at the heart of the burial complex. This inner chamber took the form of a perfect rectangle situated within the emperor's main hall, an area referenced in ancient texts but never described in full detail. The mere existence of this secret chamber challenged traditional assumptions that the tomb's design was fully understood. What raised further alarm were the layers of its walls. The chamber was encased in 3 distinct coatings: compacted earth on the outside, a heavy layer of clay beneath it, and a mysterious, high-density material on the inside that scattered radar waves. This unusual shielding signaled a deliberate effort to conceal what lay within, resisting any attempt to detect or penetrate it. Albert Lin recounted sitting with the image of this chamber longer than any other moment in the expedition, grasping its significance. The size was smaller than typical coffin chambers, shaped instead around a single raised platform resembling an altar. Soil gas analysis showed minimal oxygen levels above the site, creating an environment akin to a vacuum. This was no ordinary tomb space. It was engineered to preserve, isolate, and protect. Mercury vapor measurements around the chamber were unusually high, hundreds of times above natural baseline levels. Mercury, known for its preservative qualities and toxicity, long appeared in ancient writings referencing the emperor's tomb. The presence of these vapors suggested a chemical environment designed to slow decay and deter intrusion, reinforcing that the chamber was meant to keep something intact indefinitely. Mapping the void inside the chamber revealed a cradle-like shape suspended above the floor. It was not a coffin as commonly imagined, but a preservation device. Within that cradle-shaped space was a small mass matching the size of a late-stage fetus, about 30 to 40 centimeters long. This unexpected discovery dramatically shifted the understanding of what was preserved beneath the earth. Historical records and contemporaneous texts hint at such mysteries. References to a firstborn meant to continue the emperor's line within the eternal palace, and warnings against flesh ever touching earth or fire. Previously thought symbolic, these now took on a literal and chilling meaning in light of the scans. The fetus appeared not to be buried ritualistically, but stored intentionally. Court documents reveal fears surrounding this child. Astrologers warned the emperor that its birth would provoke chaos and violence, possibly fracturing the empire. A strict ban on childbirth during ominous celestial events was enforced, reflecting the intense anxiety about fragile stability. The fetus's preservation hinted at a desperate attempt to secure imperial continuity beyond the natural order. The chamber and its contents remain sealed from human hands, but these scans expose an ancient plan for preservation and control that goes far beyond typical burial customs. This leads naturally to the question of what else is hidden within the tomb's depths. Secrets that could redefine the emperor's legacy and challenge everything we thought we knew. The mysteries beneath the surface show that Qin Shi Huang's tomb is more than a resting place. It is a complex engineered environment for survival and deception. The preservation chamber and its mysteries. Deep within the heart of Qin Shi Huang's tomb, Albert Lin's team uncovered evidence of a hidden chamber that defied all expectations. The ground-penetrating radar revealed a smaller, secret space, concealed within a larger known chamber, a perfect rectangle sealed behind walls layered with tightly packed earth, clay, and an unusual high-density material. This shielding was unlike anything normally found in tomb construction, suggesting an extraordinary effort to hide and protect the chamber's contents from detection or damage. What lay inside was even more astonishing. Soil gas analyses detected nearly no oxygen, creating an environment akin to a vacuum. Mercury vapor levels around the area were alarmingly high, a preservative known from ancient sources to slow decay but also toxic, reinforcing the ancient texts that spoke of rivers of mercury flowing through the tomb. This chemical cloak helped maintain a lifeless atmosphere, preventing microbial activity and halting decomposition for centuries. Mapping the chamber's interior revealed the shape of a cradle-like structure suspended above the floor. No ordinary coffin, but one designed as a preservation device. Within this cradle was a small, dense mass, measured to be between 30 and 40 centimeters long, matching the size of a late-stage fetus. This discovery transformed the narrative from royal burial to something far stranger and more deliberate. Historical records from the Qin dynasty hint at mysterious references to a firstborn meant to continue the eternal dynasty and flesh forbidden to touch earth or fire. These passages, long considered metaphorical, now suggested a literal preservation of this small being within the tomb. Scholars began to reconsider the symbolic in light of solid scientific evidence. Court documents reveal a deep fear within the palace regarding this child. Astrologers warned that any birth during certain lunar cycles could invite violence, rebellion, or upheaval that might jeopardize the empire. A strict prohibition on childbirth during ominous celestial events was enforced, reflecting the emperor's desperate desire to avoid chaos and maintain control at all costs. The royal physician documented in his medical records that the child exhibited physical weakness. The emperor issued an order to protect the infant body through dedicated preservation efforts, which included neither burial nor mourning rituals. The language used in the document establishes a requirement to maintain the fetus until its future use, because the child possesses a purpose that extends beyond existence in this world. The chilling order revealed a strategy which the emperor intended to use for maintaining his power through non-traditional methods. The chamber exists as a time-controlling structure, which Qin Shi Huang used to develop his eternal control system for protecting his legacy and his survival after death. The preserved fetal remains create challenging problems which connect to ancient burial customs and royal authority, and the extreme actions taken by a king who feared death. The hidden vault, which remains unopened, creates a permanent state of secrecy about its contents, which reveal a more complicated understanding of life after death than what standard burial sites present. The process of engineered immortality starts with this procedure, which goes beyond standard burial practices. The existence of this chamber creates an automatic need to investigate which additional items the tomb conceals, while leading us to discover a concealed and mysterious area that exists beneath the tomb's outer layer. Discoveries about a hidden, preserved body then challenged everything known about the emperor himself and his final resting place. The Shadow Emperor and Body Double. Beneath an area once dismissed as mere construction debris, Albert Lin's scans unveiled a second sarcophagus, smaller, oddly angled, and unlike any royal tomb alignment known from Chinese antiquity. Its location and abnormal tilt suggested deliberate concealment, while the lid's locking mechanism appeared far more advanced than anything expected from the era. This alone hinted at hidden intentions, but what the scans revealed inside transformed the entire narrative. Density readings from within the coffin indicated a preserved human form with soft tissue intact, a remarkable find given the passage of over 2 millennia. Preservation at this level pointed to advanced embalming techniques seemingly far ahead of their time, challenging long-held assumptions about burial practices in ancient China. The body was remarkably well preserved, sealed in airtight conditions preventing natural decay. However, when compared to the known physical characteristics of Qin Shi Huang, height, skull shape, shoulder breadth, there was no match. This was not the emperor, but someone prepared and polished to appear as him. Ancient documents now gained unsettling clarity. Stories of a shadow in the emperor's clothes and a reshaped face to calm heaven's watchers suddenly made sense as descriptions of a carefully crafted body double. Legal records recorded the fate of a royal physician executed for altering a man's body without imperial consent, implying official efforts to disguise or replace the emperor's remains. Scholars increasingly agree that someone was forced into the tomb to stand as the emperor's physical double, serving as a mask to hide the true fate of Qin Shi Huang himself. Further examination of the larger known burial chamber found it empty. No bones, no organic matter, and no indication that the emperor's body was ever placed inside. The coffin remained sealed since construction, undisturbed and devoid of human remains. This stark absence raised grim possibilities. The emperor's remains might have been hidden in secret chambers or removed altogether. This discovery suggested the tomb was less a shrine and more a staged spectacle designed to confuse, mislead, and protect something far more fragile or dangerous. The Terracotta Army, then, became a smokescreen, a grand illusion to hide the absence of the true emperor's remains and conceal darker secrets. Some speculate Qin Shi Huang may have died amid experiments to achieve immortality gone awry, forcing a cover-up shrouded in secrecy and myth. Others suspect his real body is preserved in the same manner as the hidden fetus, stored in sealed, death-defying chambers unknown to modern archaeology. The political ramifications of such a discovery are immense. It transforms the tomb from a symbol of imperial power into a labyrinth of deception, fear, and concealment, reflecting a ruler unwilling or unable to face death as it naturally comes. The empty coffin and hidden body, double, represent a political nightmare, a mystery that has silenced experts wary of disturbing such a profound enigma. What lies beneath is a narrative of manipulation extending beyond death itself, turning the tomb into a fortress of secrets, guarded not just by soldiers of clay, but by layers of elaborate misdirection and encoded history. These revelations deepen the mystery, setting the stage for the deadly defenses and traps that continue to protect what lies hidden in the darkness. Lethal traps and unseen defenses. The tomb of Qin Shi Huang was never intended to be a simple resting place. It was engineered as a sprawling fortress, filled with deadly defenses designed to destroy any intruders who dared to enter. Albert Lin's deepest scans revealed a burial complex protected not only by walls and doors, but by the earth itself. Around the core chambers, the ground was carefully shaped into hidden slaying zones. These zones consisted of layers of soil with sudden, unnatural changes in density that would shift dangerously if disturbed. This design meant even the smallest mistake by someone digging or tunneling could trigger catastrophic collapses. A pressure shift would cause entire sections of the tomb to cave in rapidly, crushing anyone inside within seconds. Unlike traps needing guards or weapons, this system worked automatically, silently reacting to unauthorized entry with overwhelming force. It was protection engineered to be invisible and unstoppable, Further scans detected false floors inside several critical chambers. These floors were disturbingly thin and fragile, floating over deep pits filled with jagged stones and metal scraps. A person stepping on one of these false floors would plunge into darkness without a sound, effectively vanishing forever. Ancient texts now appear to describe these deadly floors as meant only for the dead, warning intruders of a permanent fall. Magnetic imaging uncovered pockets of sealed air, nearly devoid of oxygen within the tomb. These oxygen-starved chambers remained harmless so long as they stayed airtight. But if a tunnel punctured one of these pockets, the rush of air would draw oxygen away from the intruder, causing suffocation within minutes. This weaponized use of air was unprecedented, an ancient design that required no living guards or machinery. Several chambers were constructed with compressed mud bricks coated with thick resin, making them completely airtight. When cracked or opened, these chambers' internal pressure could burst violently outward or inward. This sudden, explosive release could collapse tunnels or crush anyone nearby instantly. It acted like a primitive vacuum bomb, using only air pressure and earth to inflict deadly damage without any need for conventional weapons. The burial mound soil samples showed mercury levels which exceeded 100 parts per million, and this amount was more than 100 times the normal background mercury levels. The tomb contained rivers and pools of mercury, which ancient accounts described. The team from Lin found underground pathways which directed mercury vapor through small tunnel systems. The soil cracking would lead to vapor release, which created toxic clouds that slain intruders before they knew about the threat. Burial mounds were constructed with artificial accuracy to create an appearance of natural erosion. The satellite images showed that the hill was built with particular design elements which functioned to shield the tomb from both military forces and grave robbers. Early researchers thought the landscape showed pure natural elements because the camouflage proved so effective. The final defense layer protected the engineered disaster, which created a terrifying situation. The Terracotta Army receives a new interpretation through Lin's research. The clay soldiers functioned as distractions, which served to protect the emperor while they created false paths to delay attackers who wanted to access the hidden underground defense systems. The tomb functioned as a permanent trap, which prevented all visitors from surviving to find its true hidden knowledge. Qin Shi Huang's tomb operates as a dangerous system, which uses hidden traps to create a lethal environment that protects his tomb. The ruler used his control over his obsessive fears, which he mastered to create security systems that have protected his legacy for over 2,000 years. Qin Shi Huang's tomb was never just a resting place. It was a fortress of fear, deception, and deadly engineering. Albert Lin's discoveries challenge everything we thought we knew, revealing a hidden world beneath the Terracotta Army. If you found this astonishing journey into history fascinating, make sure to like and subscribe for more astonishing secrets uncovered by modern science.